they really put themselves out there to make us feel happy, make us feel safe, make us feel like we want to come to school to learn and to have fun.
Hey, it's Tara from Our Kids. I recently spoke to Marika Kotani, who graduated from Arrowsmith in 2012. She then went on to complete her high school education and pursued police foundations at Durham College. She spoke about the transformative impact of Arrowsmith as it helped her overcome her learning difficulties, and she has now returned to the school as a full-time teaching assistant. Her story was very inspiring, and I hope you'll find the same. Check it out. So, Marika, thanks for coming on today. Could you start by giving us a summary of what you've been up to since graduating from Arrowsmith?
Absolutely. So, since I graduated in 2012, I went to high school and I went to college for police foundations. And then, oh, I'm so sorry. And then after college, I got a job opportunity at Arrowsmith School to become a teaching assistant full time during the year. And this was an amazing opportunity, so I took it. And I worked with that school for about, this would be my 5th year. I worked in the summer for them during the SIP, Cognitive Intensive Program.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I loved working with the students. I loved my coworkers. I loved the school. So then when I was asked to come full-time as a teaching assistant, I was over the moon, excited. It was like a job of a lifetime. Even though I was studying in college for police foundations, I have a new passion, and that's with teaching, and that's being with the students. And Aerosmith gave me that opportunity.
Okay, that's awesome. And how do you think attending Aerosmith impacted your decision, your educational decision, as well as your career decision?
At first, before Aerosmith, I really struggled with academics. I had a really hard time with school. I couldn't even write my name. I couldn't write the date. I couldn't read, write, spell. So I had a lot of difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I wanted to become a police officer at a very young age,
Mm-hmm.
but getting there, we didn't know that I could do it. My family was worried and concerned that I couldn't go to college. So by grade 4, I was tested and diagnosed with a learning disability, and I went to Aerosmith. And in 4 months, I realized that the cognitive programs that Barbara Aerosmith Young created, it works, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
And within 4 months, I was able to read, I was able to write, and I was able to be more independent. I was more confident with myself. And I stayed there for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I left Aerosmith, I went into high school, and I still knew I wanted to be a police officer.
Okay.
But because of Aerosmith, that gave me my dream. I was able to accomplish going to high school and taking the courses that I needed for college. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And I know Aerosmith was a long time ago, but if you could summarize what your experience was like what would it look like on paper? Um, how would
Um,
you describe your experience there?
when I joined Aerosmith in 2008, 2009, I would say the best memories was the teachers would create events for us, field days, and they would help us work with teamwork, relationship building, trust among other students. They made Aerosmith feel warm, welcoming, and most importantly, a safe environment for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I loved, because with my other school, I didn't get that. I was bullied by my teachers, by my peers.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Aerosmith knew I had a learning difficulty, they didn't judge, they didn't care. They just
Mm-hmm.
helped to the best of their ability. And that's what I loved.
Right. And if you can go back to 2008, you said you were at Jackman Avenue Public School before going to Aerosmith, but you touched upon it a bit earlier. But what made you decide? What made you and your parents decide to go to Aerosmith?
Um, I I had a lot of trouble with school and I
Mhm.
wasn't passing my grades. And my parents realized there was definitely something going on, a learning block. So
Mhm.
they tested me at the end of grade 3, they tested me, and then I had a learning disability.
Okay.
And my mom found Arrowsmith and she thought that it would benefit me a lot. So I went to the school on Tuesdays and Thursdays part time, and I worked on specific cognitive programs
Mhm.
for a whole year. And then in the beginning of grade 4, I was enrolled. My mom said, "You know what? I think this is the school that you need." And she enrolled me, and I was able to be a student there. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Sorry. And what would you say you most appreciated about Aerosmith?
I would say the teachers worked really hard to make you feel special. It wasn't just a regular classroom of 30 kids and you
Mhm.
had to learn by the textbook materials and by the school board's rules. They really put themselves out there to make us feel happy, make us feel safe, make us feel like we want to come to school to learn and to have fun. I
Mhm.
never once thought that I would be bullied at Aerosmith, or I never felt insecure. They gave me the confidence
Mhm.
to be me, and I grew a lot of independence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say differentiates Aerosmith from other private schools?
So to answer your question, I would want families to know that Aerosmith really does change the brain and the life of an individual. In addition to that, Aerosmith is not a school just for young students. It's a school for all ages, including adults. Anyone can work and overcome a learning challenge at any age. And sometimes parents are misinformed that a school means from grade 8 to grade 12 or grade
Mhm.
6 to grade 8. But no, it's all ages, which I love.
Mhm. And if the school were to become personified, if it's somebody that we could get to know, how would you describe Aerosmith in 3 words?
A second chance. Aerosmith definitely
A
gives
second chance. Okay.
a second chance at life because if I hadn't gone to Aerosmith, I wouldn't have been able to go to high school, graduate high school, go to college. And
Hmm.
Aerosmith gave me a second chance. And I could dream. I could have goals, create dreams, and accomplish them.
Hmm.
So I would definitely say Aerosmith is a second chance for students who feel like they struggle with academics, who feel like they can't get anywhere
Hmm.
in life.
Hmm. And what would you say is Aerosmith's highest value or highest values that you see in actual practice?
Empathy. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely.
Empathy. I mean, a lot of teachers, a lot of people, they don't understand what a learning disability is. And they can just brush it off easily by saying, oh, we can just help that student by giving them extra help and,
Hmm.
and just brush off the idea. But you really need to put in a lot of empathy, a lot of patience for
Hmm.
students who have a learning challenge. And I think it's very important that teachers and parents know that. And Aerosmith teachers, they had the most empathy. They have the most empathy. And that's, I think, very important.
Hmm. Absolutely. And what would you say parents or students would find most surprising about Aerosmith?
It's not an immediate gratification. So the first week, the first month, you may not see changes happen right away.
Hmm.
It's a long term, not a long term, but I was there for 4 years. Some people are there for 2, 3, so it's definitely not a 6 month thing where you can go for 6 months and then you're you're done, you're done.
Right.
It's a gradual thing. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. And I remember as a student, I wanted to give up so much. So
Hmm.
I would recommend to parents and students who are going to the school that keep with it. I mean, it's hard work. The cognitive program is hard, but if you keep with it, and when you finish the Arrowsmith program, you're going to see big changes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. And I think that's really, really good.
Okay. And could you describe for me the typical student at Arrowsmith?
An Arrowsmith student would struggle a lot with the academics, not have a lot of confidence with themselves because they've been beaten down by the school system, by society, by their friends, their teachers. So I would say they're insecure. And coming to the school, the teachers really focus on that. And they know that they've been hurt by society. So they focus on building their confidence back up.
Mm-hmm. And how would you say Aerosmith shaped you as a person?
Arrowsmith has made me feel really confident about myself. I'm not afraid to take on new life challenges, new academic challenges. I'm even thinking of going to university for psychology to help me with my police foundations. And I wouldn't be dreaming of university if it wasn't for Aerosmith. I would just depend on my family to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
But now I want to live alone. I want to move away from home, go to university, become a police officer. So I have more independent goals now.
Mm-hmm.
And because of Aerosmith, Aerosmith has given me the confidence to become independent.
Okay, that's awesome. Wonderful. And if there is one thing that you could change about Aerosmith, what would that be?
One thing I could change. I do wish the school was bigger. It is a small school in a small backyard. I really loved being able to run around and play tag with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Very small. But there was a park, there's a playground about 2 blocks away, and we would go there to have fun, play tag, play soccer, have gym class there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wish that schools would implement the Aerosmith program in the school curriculum because not a lot of people know about the school. And it's very important because Aerosmith helps. It works. It worked on me. It helped me so much. And I wish that other educators and other teachers would see that and implement that in their daily school curriculum.
So yeah, now that you've been pretty far removed from Aerosmith, you attended high school, you went to Durham College, and now you're a teacher's assistant. How do you think your perspective of Aerosmith has evolved over time?
To answer your question, now that I'm an adult, since going to Aerosmith, I've gone to high school and college. I'm more confident and independent with myself. And as you know, I'm now a teaching assistant there. And I would say Aerosmith really helped. I now realize how much the Aerosmith program changed me and opened up new opportunities for me. And as a child, I didn't know Aerosmith would help me this much. So I am so fortunate and grateful for that opportunity that I was able to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And would you recommend Aerosmith to other students?
That's a good question. If students don't have a learning disability, I like to call them learning differences.
Mm-hmm.
But if students don't have a learning challenge, then no. But if a student is really struggling with life, with school, if a student is really struggling with school, I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Not struggling meaning they're studying really hard and they're getting B minus. I don't mean that. I mean they have trouble articulating what they feel. They have trouble reading academic books. They have trouble continuing conversations or reading an analog clock. Those things. If they struggle a lot, then maybe look into Aerosmith and see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But and as I said, I did the part-time program, but you can't really judge the school based on the full-time and part-time program.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think give call the principal and ask if you can come in for a day or two and see how it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what would you say to a family that's considering sending their child who has learning differences to Aerosmith?
So for a parent who wants to involve their student in Aerosmith, I would say that they're very brave to do so, because that is a lot of, well, it takes a lot of, it's very vulnerable for the student to accept that they have a learning difficulty,
Hmm.
because you're technically pinpointing that they're different from everybody else and that they have to go to this school to help them with their differences. So
Hmm.
it's a very brave thing that they're doing, and for the child. And I would say it's worth it though. It's a great investment and it's really worth it in the long term. And the child would definitely really feel like a whole new person after trying out the program.
Right. And then lastly, what's your one piece of advice for a student that's just about to enter Aerosmith?
Aerosmith is definitely a different school, unlike other private or public schools. But I would say give it a chance. The teachers are the most empathetic, the most welcoming, the most trusting people you'd ever meet. They will put in so much time to make sure that you are happy, you're safe, you feel comfortable. And if you're struggling with the program, they will take extra time to help you through it, to
Mhm.
help you learn. I would say give Aerosmith a chance. It's not like other schools, meaning teachers are following the regular school curriculum and they
Mhm.
have to go and teach by textbook. It's not like that. It's very different.